And welcome back to Hannity. The investigation into the IRS targeting scandal is getting more contentious by the day, especially after the tax agency recently revealed that Lois Lerner's emails just disappeared after a computer crash in 2011. Now, lawmakers grilled top administration officials during hearings on Capitol Hill both last night and this morning regarding the outrageous claims. Things got quite heated. Let's take a look.
I subpoenaed you here tonight because, frankly, I'm sick and tired of your game playing in response to congressional oversight.
This is a huge story. You got the key player in this, who took the fifth. It's in the news every day, and in that time you're telling us you did not have any inclination that a bunch of Lois Lerner's emails were lost.
You told us that all emails would be provided. When you discovered that all emails would not be provided, you did not come back and inform us. Is that correct?
All the emails we have will be provided. I did not say I would provide you emails that disappeared. If you have a magical way for me to do that, I'd be happy to know about it.
What criminal statutes you've evaluated?
I have not looked at any.
Well, then how can you possibly tell our fellow citizens that there's no criminal wrongdoing if you don't even know what statutes to look at?
Because I've seen no evidence that anyone consciously...
Well, how would you know what elements of the crime existed? You don't even know what statutes are at play.
The fact that you didn't tell us, and we've been after this for 13 months. We subpoenaed 6 months ago for this. You had a hearing on the 26th where everyone on this dais went after you and said, we want all the emails, and you assured us you'd get them all to us, and then you learn you can't, and you don't tell anybody?
You should call the FBI. You should call for a special prosecutor.
I cannot enter into Lois Lerner's mind. I've never met her as to what she...
I ask you to pick up the phone and call the FBI, not enter Lois Lerner's mind.
Did they break the law?
I'm not a lawyer.
But you administer the Federal Records Act.
I do.
If they didn't follow it, can we safely assume they broke the law?
They did not follow the law.
You disagree with the president when he says there's not a smidgen of corruption.
There are people who have been making judgments both sides about whether there were...
And you know what? I'm not one of those. I'm just simply saying we will never know because you didn't keep the evidence.
We have a problem with you, and you have a problem with maintaining your credibility.
All right, let's put up the latest Fox News poll numbers as we continue with the vice president. 76% of respondents think the emails missing from the account of Lois Lerner, the ex-IRS official at the center of the scandal, was deliberately destroyed. And if you break it down, 90% of Republicans, 74% of independents, even 63% of Democrats. We have a lot going on in Washington. We have a VA scandal that is atrocious. I want to ask you about that. We have what's happening in Iraq. We have an economy where is now contracting. 50 million Americans on food stamps, 50 million Americans in poverty. Why do I think this scandal, more than any other, has the ability to impact this White House in ways that nobody can imagine today?
Well, they obviously seem to be scared of it. As I look at it, when I think of the power of the state, the ability to tax, obviously, is a key part of that, but that somehow it's more threatening than any of the other concerns that we're talking about. The fact that they can get into anybody's life, if you've ever been audited, and I used to be audited every year when I was in the government, it's a scary proposition.
I have to overpay because I have a big target on my back. Well, go ahead.
I'll bet you do.
Yeah.
But no, I think it is a devastating scandal. I think we haven't not gotten to the bottom of it. I hope the Congress continues to pound away at it. Very important that we find out.
I didn't know we had an archivist at the United States, but apparently we do, who said the IRS did not follow the law. How aware, when you were vice president, were you of the need to keep records like this?
Well, I think about my own tax situation. You know, I was audited literally every single year that I was vice president.
Seriously?
Yeah.
As vice president?
As vice president. And I had to, it's something that started back during the Nixon days, and once they got started, nobody could figure out how to stop. So every year, you got the audit? And I got the privilege of paying for it, too.
Here's what we know. We know a few things. We know a timeline that exists here. The emails were subpoenaed in August of 2013. We know that they realized they were missing in February 2014. The IRS commissioner promised in testimony before Congress in March that they would have them. He says in April he figured out that they had no access to them. Lerner's computer crashed 10 days, how convenient, after the IRS gate inquiry began. The IRS ended the email storage contract with the server just weeks after Lerner's computer crash. And the IRS commissioner is a huge Democratic donor. Too many coincidences here?
Yeah, it looks to me like a very, very serious cover-up underway. It's the only conclusion you can come to. It would be as if Nixon had burned the tapes.
All right, but that's the Article 2 of Nixon's impeachment. Do you think it has the potential to get that serious?
I don't know. I think it's very important that Congress push it very hard. If there's a special prosecutor called for it, seems to me this is the kind of case where exactly that would be the right answer. Get somebody out there that everybody can trust and believe in, and let them go find out the truth.
We have a big scandal with the VA. It seems to be institutionalized fraud with these dual waiting lists that they have. And all these people getting these bonuses. Tom Coburn did an investigation of all of this, and it's called Friendly Fire, Death, Delay, and Dismay at the VA. He's saying that probably what has happened there, 1,000 veterans probably lost their lives, and taxpayers are on the hook for already $1 billion in malpractice. What do you make as you hear day after day of how we're treating our vets? And
well, it's a real tragedy. You think about what these individuals have done during their lifetimes. Oftentimes put their own lives on the line for all the rest of us. If we owe them anything, it is the kind of medical care that they're entitled to by virtue of their status as having served. And if we had a big bureaucracy in the country handling the nation's health care, that makes you nervous when you see what in fact has happened at the VA. It badly needs new leadership. We'll see whether or not they can get on top of it.
Where's the sense of urgency? Where's the 1-800 number for the guy that really needs help today? Like they chronicled a guy that waited 8 years for a psychological evaluation. Right. That's what's missing to me. As it relates to the Republican Party, I'm kind of impressed, as I was telling Governor Palin, with conservative governors. I'm not that impressed. I don't feel that there's a vision coming out of elected officials in Washington on the Republican side offering a clear, distinct alternative, no pastels but bold-colored differences. What do you make of the battle between establishment and Tea Party? Because I would look at you as more Tea Party.
Sure, but if you look at Wyoming, for example, we are, according to the last Gallup poll, the most conservative state in the nation.
More than Utah?
More than Utah.
Okay.
This is self-identification Gallup poll earlier this year. And those are my people. I mean, that was my
3 electoral votes. Right.
3 electoral votes, yeah. And we needed them.
I know, that's a good point.
I delivered them.
You get to, when it was important.
Yeah. But I find in Wyoming what we've got some places where the Tea Party is working hand in glove with the mainstream party or the regular party. Other places where there'll be competition of some kind and a contest and controversy. I think we've got to have room for everybody in that tent called the Republican Party. And I'm not eager to see that split develop into a movement outside. I think it's very important that we make room for both Tea Party and non-Tea Party inside the Republican Party.
I want a vision that they articulate, a consensus vision. One, I like the penny plan, stop spending money you don't have. I like control the borders, leave it there. I like energy, look at North Dakota. I look at choice in education. You know, 5 simple, basic, fundamental things, a consensus plan on Obamacare. And then that would unite the Tea Party and the establishment, wouldn't it?
It would help a lot. I don't find, I've got some very good friends who are members of the Tea Party. I've got others who aren't members of the Tea Party. But it should not be, in my mind, treated as some kind of negative. The press, the liberals will scream and yell. They say, well, we're just the party of the Tea Party, or the Tea Party wins again, trying to, in effect, embarrass us because of that. I think a strong party for the Republicans should have room for all of those folks. And I think we need to come together, as you say, on a message, basic fundamental beliefs that we have adhered to in the past and need to again. That's why I think it's so important. Daughter Liz and I have started out with a new organization, the Alliance for a Strong America. It's all focused on national security and defense. And
that's your real passion.
That's my real passion. That's where I spent most of my time as vice president, 4 years as Secretary of Defense, 4 years on the Intel Committee. But Liz and I believe very, very deeply in what we're trying to do here, and certainly that ought to be part of a plank that we can support.
Last question, back to your comments about predicting a far deadlier attack than what happened on 9/11. Could you see a potential radical Islam in the world at war with radical Islam?
Well, it's
maybe that's far-fetched, but
I think we're to the point where we clearly have, well, the head of MI5, that's a counterterrorism unit for the Brits, announced within the last couple of weeks that of all the cases they've got that are active, that they're pursuing now, in the counterterrorism nature, in MI5, half of them have some kind of an association with Syria.
Right.
Syria has become a breeding ground for the kind of thing that Afghanistan was for back at the time of 9/11. And so I'm worried again, as I say, about the proliferation of these kinds of organizations, the territory where they find safe havens, and their ability to get their hands on deadlier weapons.
Yeah.
And that combination, I think, is not only a threat to the United States, but our friends throughout the region out there, folks in Europe. Sooner or later, there will be another mass casualty attack, and I'm worried it'll be far deadlier than 9/11.
All right, Mr. Vice President, great to see you in New York. Good to see you in studio. By the way, you look great. Congratulations. You're looking in good health.
Yes, sir.
I can't go fishing with you because you mock me on my fly fishing. Thanks a lot.
Anytime you want to go, let me know.
All right.